welcome back to Better Together, the space where we talk about real life, real growth, and connection. I'm your host, Deneen.
I'm your co-host Sierra. Uh,
And
Today we're diving into a topic that so many people struggle with, being single and happy.
yeah, let's start with the real question. Can you truly be happy without being in a relationship? And why do we sometimes equate being single with being lonely?
Yes. And is being single a waiting room or can it be a destination?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
But today we're gonna unpack all of that today with honesty, humor, and some powerful book references that have shaped how we think about love, identity, and wholeness.
Yeah.
So the first segment we're going to talk about today is single doesn't mean lonely, right? And so
Yes.
there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. You can be surrounded by people and still feel lonely. You can live alone and feel completely fulfilled.
Yes. 100%. Happiness shouldn't depend on your relationship status. I mean, we've seen a lot of content recently, especially from like Tracy Ellis Ross has her solo traveling TV show. Like, there's a lot of renewed focus on, especially being a woman, being single, and what, really the positive things that can come from that.
Yeah, I always say I'd rather be single and whole than partnered and constantly trying to convince myself that I'm happy or that I'm enough for somebody else.
Yeah, I don't know. I think a lot of people would take the alternative route and would rather just have the partner, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean that's what we're seeing, right?
Yeah.
This reminds me of a book. It's by Bell Hooks. It's called All About Love, and she talks about how love isn't just romance. It's care, it's respect, it's honesty, responsibility. Being single gives you time to understand what healthy love actually looks like.
Yes, and sometimes we chase relationships because we want to feel loved before we learn how to give and receive on what giving and receiving healthy love looks like.
Yeah, I know that's true.
Mm-hmm. The next thing we want to talk about is you really have to learn who you are. Being single gives you space to ask, who am I outside of being someone's partner? I
Yeah.
definitely think that like learning about yourself helps you be connected to like what your needs are, what you really like to do. I know a lot of people get asked like questions on dates about what are your hobbies. A lot of people have no answers to those questions. What do you like to do? They only have answers to the typical things like what do you do for work? What's your zodiac sign? Family dynamics, things like that. So it's like, when you're single, that's the time to really tap into those hobbies. For some like me, that's just like watching TV or going to watch a movie in 4DX, which could be
Right.
harrowing. Yeah.
Well, which goes back to, what do I enjoy, right? What do I
Mhm.
enjoy doing? Or even what are my dreams? Like,
Yeah.
and what does peace look like for me? Like, because for some people, peace, like you just said, peace is just sitting down watching a movie. That's peace,
Hmm.
right? For other
Yeah.
people, they get peace being around people. I mean, they
Ah,
want to be out and about. Some people just want to be home. They feel comfortable at home. They don't have to be doing anything in particular, but that is their place of peace. So.
yeah. And I think especially like following your dreams, there's no better time to do that, especially when you're a woman, is when you're single. Because as you know, we pour so much of ourselves into our partner that sometimes that gets lost. I mean, you could also be in a relationship where, it helps you focus on those dreams and helps you get where you want to be, but I think there's a very good space for focusing on you specifically when you're single. Brene Brown's The Gift of Imperfection is perfect here. She talks about embracing your authentic self, not becoming someone else's version of enough. Yeah.
Yeah, when I talk Brene Brown, that's like one of my favorites, which I'm always bringing up her books or whatever. But the other thing about when you are single, when you're in a relationship as opposed to being single, is I don't care what you say. When you are in a relationship, you are going to be considering that other person. That's just
Yeah.
what it is. And here's the thing: even when you're not in a relationship, you might consider some things that you might not, you shouldn't consider. But being single allows you to trust yourself and make decisions that are all based on what's going to be best for you
Yes.
and nothing else. Like leave, I mean, like really putting blinders on for everything else and then making sure that the decisions that you make are considering what you want, what's going to be best for you. And I think we all should have a time in our lives when we do that.
Yeah. 100%.
Unfortunately, some people don't have that
Yeah.
time.
Like, when you're single, you can live wherever you want to live. You can move when you want to. You can get up at whatever time you want to. I mean, of course, if you don't have children. And then, there's so much freedom. And I think that's the biggest piece that everyone needs to focus in on. It's like, think about how free you are, how you can, go out whenever you want. You can go where you want. You don't have to do any like negotiating. And
No,
that's a huge plus.
yeah, it's just really a good, yeah, it's a good time for you and you, right?
Yes.
There's a book. There's a book called Untamed by Glenn Doyle, and the book is a whole mirror. She asks, "Who are you when you stop trying to make everyone else happy?"
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's a good
Because
question.
we spend most of our time considering how whatever we do is going to impact other people, right?
Yeah, we're constantly trying to please others, even if you don't consider yourself a people pleaser. I mean, even when you're at work, you're like, does this email like come across well? What are people gonna think? How is this text gonna be perceived? Like, even there, outside of relationships, like we're always trying to consider and please others. So yeah, focusing inward is always
Yeah,
good.
I think so. And I think that even a lot of times, because people have not had the opportunity to be self focused,
Mm-hmm.
that they feel awkward when they
Yeah.
get into a situation where they don't have to consider other people, where people are not around them, kind of influencing their decisions. So they're kind of like, where, what do I do? Where do I go? What am I supposed to do? And people don't understand that this is your time. This is the time
Mm-hmm.
for you to, take care of yourself. And I
Yeah.
always say this, and I will continue to say this over and over again, treat yourself like you treat other people. This is an opportunity
Yes.
for you to give all that care that you give to everybody else to yourself,
Yeah. We
right?
give others so much grace and we give ourselves like none. It's
Hmm.
it's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah,
Um
I think so. Yeah, when you talk about being single can be a season of rediscovering your identity without compromise, right? You don't have to make any compromise. You don't have to, be concerned about, what's going to happen with that. The
yes.
next thing I wanted to talk about was stop treating relationships like it's a rescue mission.
Yes. Yes.
I
But
love that.
it's a
It's like,
huge it's the thing is, it goes back to like all these stories and the movies you consume from a young age, like literally Princess getting rescued. Like that's
yes,
exactly what that is. So it's kind of like innate in us. And even your whole
yeah,
life, you're kind of people are like prepping you for this like day when you're gonna be, whisked away and then your life's going to be different. The life before, you can forget all that, and now this is your new life, this is your new name, this is your new family. So it's like this weird thing where you're supposed to like operate like, because getting whisked away is not like that common, I
right,
guess. Or even if it is, it's like it's different than what we expect. So
yeah,
like 100%, that's a huge thing.
yeah. I mean, a relationship shouldn't have rescued you from loneliness, right?
Specifically, yes. But I
Yeah, I
think,
mean,
I mean,
yeah,
from we watch like, all the dating shows like Love is Blind and whatnot, a lot of people are just going on there because they're lonely.
mm,
And they're just like, I guess I'll get someone to entertain me. That's what a lot of people, and what we were talking about earlier is like relationships are like a responsibility.
yeah,
It's not, it's not just like some like cute little thing. It's like there's a lot of care and effort that has to go into a relationship. Um,
yeah.
So if you're
Right.
lonely, just pick up a hobby.
No, it's true. It requires a lot of you. It really
Hmm.
does. Right.
Yeah, like another person can't give you the self worth you haven't developed.
That girl, that's a bar right there. If you have,
Mm-hmm.
people are saying, I want this and I want that, and unfortunately, they're not even equipped to receive that or even
No.
handle the responsibility of being in a relationship like that. I mean, like for example, if you let's say you marry, what's her name? Lisa Ray married the president of a country,
Hmm. And Lisa
and
Ray's who, to clarify for
well,
the
she's a movie star. Movie
okay.
star. She was in specific. She was in Living. What's it called? Single Ladies.
Yes, single ladies. Yes.
Single Ladies. That was such a good. A lot of people didn't even see that. That was such a good show. But she also was in Players Clubs for the men out there, and so
There you
they'll
go.
remember. They'll remember her, Diamond. Anyway, beautiful lady, absolutely beautiful, beautiful lady. But there's a lot that would come with being the wife of a president of a country, right?
Hmm.
And you would have to make sure that you're prepared. Okay, and here's another example that people can really, Meghan Markle,
Yes.
right? So you want to marry into the royal family, but you don't want to be a part of the royal family. You don't want
Well,
to be subjected. No, no, no. You don't want to be subjected to what comes with the royal family.
here's the issue, which is I think a huge thing with dating is that, and I've seen this a lot of times, we want the person, but we want pieces of them. And that is the purest example of that exact thing. Like she loves Harry.
Right.
He doesn't she did not want to get married to Prince Harry, son
The
of Princess Diana.
queen and the
Yeah,
whole
like
yeah.
he did not really sign up for that, and I can 100% see how he, like, because I watched like the documentary and stuff, how he leaned into everything about himself that isn't that. And
Yeah.
then they get married, and then none of that's real, and the only thing that's real is that he's the prince.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly what happened.
Right. So that's why you have to make sure that you're prepared for what you are desiring.
Yeah, what do you want?
Are you prepared to tell somebody every place you're going to go, every time you're going somewhere? Are you
Ooh.
prepared to ask permission?
Mhm.
I would say, for lack of a better word, or say, are you prepared to consult with another person every time you have a conversation with somebody else, every time you invite somebody to your house, every time you spend a penny? You have to start, you have to make sure that
Consulting.
you're
Yes.
prepared for that. And
See,
so I think that when you are single without a partner, it is a great opportunity to determine, what your deal breakers are and what you're willing to sacrifice, because relationships are it's sacrifices involved.
something we've talked about before is how, like, you can't truly practice something or truly know something until you're in the field. Like some
Ooh,
stuff is just hands on.
it's
So a
true.
lot of this stuff we're like sitting around, we're thinking about it. Oh yeah, this, that, and the third. And I mean, we've seen this on Married at First Sight, where people go on there and they're like, I'm ready for marriage. I want a husband. I want this, that, and the third. And then they go there and they're like, well, I don't like how he's here every time I come back to the house. And you're just like, what? That's literally the one thing. That's literally what a marriage is. Some person is going to constantly be there, and you have to tell them when you're coming and going. But I do understand that because, like me, I've never had to negotiate anything. I'm not sitting around being like, I mean, one of the best things is like when you're, oh, I want to go to the movies. I can just choose one seat at any time that works for me, any day that works for me, at any time. Like, oh, it starts in 30 minutes, so I can just do that. As
Yeah.
soon as you open it up to other people, there's this huge, like, we have to bring everyone's thoughts together. Well, actually, I don't want to see that movie. Well, I don't like going at night. I'm not free Thursday. There's not enough seats together. Like, it turns into this whole thing. And I mean, that's really what a relationship is. Um,
Yeah, no, it
constantly,
is. I
constantly.
had a friend of mine, a guy friend of mine, whom I like, and he likes me too. He's allergic to seafood. I love seafood.
Yep.
That won't work.
No.
Something as little as that, like, but you don't realize it. So what happens is, they first of all, they don't even tell you they're allergic to seafood.
Correct.
You just never go around it. You fall in
Mm-hmm.
love with this person, and now, surprise.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people are just stuck.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
completely,
yeah.
yeah. You're a crab cakeaholic, and then
True.
you're with a man whose face turns purple when he's around a shrimp. And
Exactly.
it looks dumb, but people don't stop. People just keep pushing.
No, they do. I mean, they don't want people don't want to face the reality.
No.
The reality that somebody's going to have to make a sacrifice. I mean,
Yes.
same thing with, long-term relationships. So don't want
Mm-hmm.
to. I don't want to get off track though. There now. So here's another one of my favorite authors. His name is Miguel Ruiz, and my favorite book of his is called The Four Agreements. So we'll talk about that another time. But this book that I'm making reference to is called The Mastery of Love. And the mastery of love, that love shouldn't be based on fear, possession, or dependency. Healthy relationships allow two whole people to come together, not two people trying to fill emotional voids and holes. So yeah, that's another good book.
The
I
thing is,
love
the
that.
question is like, if you can't use a relationship to do that, how do you fill those emotional holes? How is it food? Is it alcohol? Like, what are we doing? What's the other
Ooh,
option? I
it's
don't know.
it's it's therapy, and it could be self therapy.
Yeah, therapy,
Yeah, exercise,
knitting,
self therapy,
friendship. There you go. The answer is friendship.
like it. Just what we talked about last week. Meaningful relationships. That's what it is.
Meaningful relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Hmm.
here's the thing. The meaningful relationships should be the relationships that are helping you to heal, right?
Yeah.
Because you got people in your lives who are going to be honest with you about, who you are and how you're operating. So yeah, that's
Yeah. And it's like
meaningful.
a lot of the stuff that we feel like that you could be missing out from a relationship can literally be plug and play with friends. And
That's
honestly,
true.
like you ask a lot of people, if anyone listening has like very, very close friends, you're
Hmm.
more honest typically with your very close friends than you are with someone you're at least recently dating. Like the
Yeah.
first like 3 years, like you're being this like cute coy version and they don't know the real tea. But it's like your friends, you can be upfront. It's like, oh, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm annoyed, I don't want to do that. Like, you can give your full self versus with a partner, there's kind of a like they're getting a piece of you. And then
Right.
you wait until the 5 year mark and then everyone gets divorced and that's where the real one comes out or something.
No,
But
it's true. I mean, here, being single is about enjoying your freedom, right? I mean, let's talk about you talk about the beauty of being single. Let's talk about that, right?
yes, like examples we said earlier, traveling when you want, decorating your home your way. I'm currently doing that. I'm literally just picking stuff that I like. No questions asked. No one to yay or nay it, and that's for better for worse. Um,
Right.
Managing your money according to your priorities, creating your own schedule, trying new hobbies, meeting new people, pursuing education or career goals. Yeah, so there's so much that can be done. And honestly, it's like you would hope that once you get in a relationship, you could still do a lot of these things. Like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
my
Well,
mind, I
you would
know
hope.
if I
Go
moved
ahead.
in with a man, the home is being decorated my way. I'm not having him making any. He can't. You don't have no choice about what's going in there.
Well, I think, you would hope that if you had the right partner, that that person is going to complement you doing all those things, all the things that you really want to do. They would
Hmm.
complement you in that way.
Yeah,
Even if it's, like you said, you would want to decorate your place, right? But you
yeah,
also would want that person to feel comfortable in the space as well. So even though you would drive the decorating, you still
Yeah.
would want them to, you know, have some part in it.
True. I would hope that I would trust that, use them as like a trusted advisor to like put up things against and wanting to be like, oh, do you like literally hate this? But other than that, it's pretty much me. Pretty much me.
Yeah, and I
I
remember when I got married. I mean, I didn't have any kind of style. I had no history, and so I just kind of deferred to my husband on what he liked.
And the funny thing
And
is, he had no style. I'm sure. That's the funny thing. The men don't have style.
yeah, that's
No.
not true. That's not true.
Home decor?
What?
You want a speaker in your couch? Speaker in your couch? You want some LEDs? You want a surround sound system? They know about some electronics.
No, I think that there are men out there that have some really good taste, and they are being exposed to a lot of the wonderful things that we're being exposed to. So yeah, I think that they are. I'm giving them a pass on
That's
not having any style and everything just being men. I think, but what I do also think is that we are better together. I mean,
true.
shameless plug,
Mhm.
because if you let a man just run with the way he wants to run, he's going to go all this way, and a woman
Yes.
may go all the other way. So when we come together, I feel like,
True.
we have the best version of
That's
um, of what we can have. So I think
Yeah,
that's
nice
cool.
balance. Some nice color palette, some nice, fixtures, and then also a speaker in your couch. And I think that's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. I think one of the major benefits of being single is rediscovering yourself.
Yes.
Because what happens when you're in a relationship is the first thing is you start settling in, you start
Hmm.
nesting in. And not saying that, just because you're in a relationship that you're not going to grow, saying you're not going to have any fun. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you are going to go through a period of settling in.
Hmm.
And so what's going to happen is that, you're going to lock in and your priorities are going to join,
Hmm.
and then there's going to be some sacrifices that need to be made. I.e., you marry a military person, Armand. Guess what? You got to go wherever they go.
Yeah.
You gotta. The major priority is going to be with the soldier,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying you have an opportunity to rediscover yourself when you're by yourself. So that's
Or
really
even if you're like dating anybody, I think the further you get in, there's just like little bombs that are dropped the whole time you're dating somebody early. And you're kind of sitting there being like, okay, how do I adjust to this? How do I adjust to this? How do I adjust to this? And then before you know it, you could be like a year down the line and you're like, wait, who am I? Who was that? That's not I don't like that. That's not me. And I mean this happens for men and women. You like sit there and you're like, wait, that's not
that's so
something I'm
true.
comfortable with. So yeah, it's definitely, and that's why when people get out of a relationship or are just like single, you have time to like reflect and be like, wait, like what do I really want? Who am I? And a good example of this comes from like Shonda Rhimes in her book called Year of Yes. She said yes to herself, yes to life, without waiting for a relationship to validate her. It's also reminds me of the movie Yes Man, which is such a funny movie. Just so good. It's actually like it makes a good point. It's like sometimes you have to say yes to life.
Yeah, it's specifically if you are an introvert person and you're not
Yes.
really used to being very social, you
Hmm.
have to give yourself a chance. And sometimes you just got to throw out all the rules and just go forward. And I
Yes.
think you experienced that when you went to college.
Hmm.
You just
But
kind of have to say yes.
yeah, I think that's something I've seen or you hear about a lot. It's like when you're an introvert, or even if like, and I'm not necessarily this person, but someone who's like hyper studious, like
Hmm.
people say yes to specific things about their life. They're like, I'm gonna go to college. I'm going to I'm gonna graduate. I'm gonna go to law school. I'm gonna get into a law firm, right? They say yes, 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 yes. And then the whole other like social or relationship thing is put on the back burner. Or people do the opposite where they're like, I'm going to get in a relationship. And then they're in a relationship and they have no friends. They never
Right.
prioritize the social thing. They say no when everyone wants to hang out. So it's about saying yes to life generally, like all things. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go for it at work. I can go for it here. I can give this a try. Like that's really what that's about.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And then the other thing about being single is don't let society rush you. You know, people love asking, when are you going to settle down? Are you seeing
Mm-hmm.
anybody? Do you want to get married? Do you want to have children? And people
Yeah.
are constantly putting the pressure on you to do the next thing. I mean, or
Yes.
remember you were dealing with that, like when you graduate from college.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get a job yet? Right?
Yeah.
And then,
What's next?
right, what's next? People are always pushing you to the next thing. So we have to get out of allowing people to move us before we're ready to move. And an example of that for me was is about work. About how you might be in a job and things are going terrible. There are people there that are just driving you crazy. But you make good money there. It's everything else is working except the people at work. And so some people would be like, you know what, I'm out of here, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so my motto is, no, don't let anybody push you out of something that's really working for you before you're ready.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I think that's really something to think about. Make I always
Mm-hmm.
tell people that I'm like, wait a minute, just because they're not, just because they're a problem, don't turn that into your problem. So that's really what that means. Don't let society rush you into
Yeah,
things.
yeah. There's a lot of like natural, like expectations that are built up over generations, and I think they continue because other people follow that path, or were like pushed into it or forced into it. So whether it's good or bad, like there's people who, you know, get married, have kids immediately, and it's great for them. Some people it's not great for them, but they can't understand how someone is outside of that path that society puts for people, especially at a certain age, what they're doing. I mean, one example is like home ownership. Like people are very like, if you don't
Pro.
own a home, you're making a bad decision. If you don't own a home, you're making a bad decision, but can't understand the alternative
Right.
of doing so. And it's like there's benefits to both. Like, or even like controversially, it's like there's people who are married or like dating forever and never get married,
Right.
and they're completely fine, and they have no children. And so it's just like you really have to be like tapped into who you are, what you want. I mean, I heard Kiki Palmer was, I don't know if she was doing an interview or she was interviewing somebody, where she was talking about she realized that she was trying to mimic her parents' relationship that was more traditional because that's how she grew up. And then when she actually got into that type of dynamic, she realized that that's not even what she wants, and it doesn't even fit her life. So
Right.
that's
Right.
something, it's always like you're trying to imitate things you've seen, things that you just naturally know. But if you really like look inward, you're like, oh, what does that even actually work for me?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just important for us to know that just because we're not doing it like anybody else does it does not make mean something's wrong with us,
Yes.
right? We don't have to work. We don't have to feel that way. We're living our life. We're the one that has all the entire story of our life, and we can make the best decision for ourselves.
And the
So
and the funny thing is, as soon as you um, do whatever everyone tells you to do, and you are pushed and you do it, no one's ever satisfied. They're never satisfied. It's never like if you just jump into it and you're like, okay, actually, I'm getting married tomorrow to a random man I met on Love Is Blind. People are
right,
like, wait, why are you doing that? You don't know him. What's going on? Or you get married to somebody and then they're like, oh, where are the kids at? Where are the kids at?
hmm
Where are the kids at? And also a lot of times people aren't helping you. People aren't going to, like, you buy a house, you're like, oh, okay, everyone told me to buy a house. Everyone told me to buy a house. You buy a house, you have problems. Oh, can someone help me? No one's helping you.
no, it's true.
So
It's,
you gotta think about
it's
yourself.
it's absolutely true with that. I mean, I think there's just nothing wrong with us choosing our peace, while we're waiting, right? Waiting, or even deciding whether we want a relationship. We're
Mhm.
waiting for a relationship. We're deciding whether we want a relationship. You might not want a relationship.
No, no. And in the book Attached by Amir Levine and Rachel Heller, it explains why some people fear being alone and why others pull away when things get too close. Sometimes society pressures us into relationships we're not emotionally ready for. I
Right.
think that is super, super common. Um, I think, and the thing is, I don't think there's space given to people in dating that there needs to be. Because I do think I mean, you've probably seen this where it's like people are dating someone and they kind of know it's not going to be like this like marriage scenario, but they're fine
Right.
with what it is right now, and people aren't comfortable with that
Yeah.
because people are always like, oh, when are you going to be official? When is this happening? When is that happening? When are you going to meet each other's parents? When are you going to move in together? And you're just like, sometimes things are just what it is.
Yeah.
um, and if you accepted that, that's fine. Or even like something like, moving in together. Like people pressure, they're like, well, you guys have been dating for this long, why don't you move in together? And it's like,
Right.
sometimes people don't need to do that. Sometimes
No, it's
people don't.
true. Again, I mean, people putting, their expectations on you, putting, what they're used to, what they think is best, what has worked for them may not
Mhm.
work for you. So yeah, we have to be really, really just cognizant of where people are coming from with the information that they're providing,
And
right?
people are going, and some people, it's like are in relationships with people not because they're like obsessed with them and they really want to be, but just because it's just seems like the natural thing to do, or it seems convenient, or everyone's like, why, that's a good guy, or y'all this, that, and the third. And it's like I feel like there's um a lot of people not emotionally ready in relationships, being pressured into doing things that are like considered normal. It's all, I think that's very
Yeah, I
common.
think so. But I think here's some things that you can consider if you decide to date. These are some really critical things that you need to remember. Does this
Mm-hmm.
person bring you peace or confusion?
Here,
Right?
that's it.
I
That's it.
mean, that. As a matter of fact, I'll say something else about this. I'm going to digress for a minute. I always say when I new people come into my life, I'm like, is this person bringing me closer to God or pushing me away from God? That's my thing because I'm very connected to God, and so if a person is taking me away from God because I'm hanging out with you, now I don't go to church as much as I used to. I can't, participate in my spiritual things. That's that's
Mhm.
that's confusion for me, and that's not going to work. So, but can I be myself around them?
Yes.
Or the other thing is, am does when I'm with this person, am I my best self?
Yes.
Am I my best self when I'm with this person? Because the person that you are with should make you want to be your best self,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Or even or help you to be your best self. Like, do they put you in situations where you can be your best self? So that's
Yeah.
kind of, some of the
And
things that you have.
that's kind of that's kind of part of the confusion piece. It's like, if you're being your best self when you're around someone who brings you peace, you know what I mean? It kind of all loops together.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, does your values align,
That's a big one. And
right?
I'm confused on, all the like a lot of like the do they bring peace or confusion? You can feel that like early, right? And you can judge that pretty much in every interaction. Um,
Hmm.
then can I be myself around them? You can also judge that every interaction. When do you ask about the values?
Well,
When is that discussed?
I don't think you ask about the values. I think you have to watch. I think you have to watch and listen. I think you have to watch and listen. Okay, if this person is following a certain political person, I
Thing is, you
think
might not
that
know that.
I'm sorry.
You might not know that.
I
How would
know
you?
that, but I'm saying here are the signs about watching and listening. So you notice this person's doing this. You
Yeah.
notice this person is responding this way. Watch and listen. That's how you're going to know,
Yeah. Yeah. Because
right?
I'm like, because my thing is like, okay, certain things are not first date conversation to me.
Right?
Like, I don't think you should be talking. I don't know if you should be talking about values, like maybe moral stuff. But I'm like, I mean, I think generally that would come, be normal. But I'm like, values is a tough thing, and that's why I'm asking, when is that brought up? When
Yeah, I
should
don't think it's brought.
someone?
I think it's
Because I
brought. I
think
don't think
there
it's
are
brought up.
people are
Hmm?
going on dates and they're having conversations about like, political conversations. They're having questions about like, family things. Or I think maybe, okay, values is like, do you want a family? What is the dynamic? So it's just like that. That one's one where you kind of you got to interrogate a little
Yeah,
bit.
I think so. But I do think that asking questions about the family dynamics. Because I
Hmm.
think I was when we were listening to, I don't know what we were listening to, but one of the questions they asked was, what kind of relationship did you have with your mom?
Yeah.
Do you have a good relationship with your mother?
Yeah.
Do you have a good relationship with your father? What are you family oriented, right?
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
like for my purposes, it would be like, do you go to church?
Hmm.
Because people say, oh yeah, I'm a Christian, and I'm like, okay, you're a Christian, okay. So how does that? What does that look? What does that look like? You
Yeah.
being a
Yeah. So
Christian?
what that look like is a
Yeah.
big.
Does that mean that you were baptized, when you were a baby, and you have not connected with any kind of spiritual leaders or anything since then? I don't know. So yeah,
Yeah.
so those are some of the questions that I would ask on that. And then
Hmm.
another thing would be, do they respect my boundaries?
Yes.
Do you tell them some things that don't really work for you? How are they, operating with that? So these are
Hmm.
really some, just some good little tidbits on how you are going to determine if this is someone that is going to be, good for you. How about, am I choosing them because I genuinely like them, or because I don't want to be alone, or I'm
Yeah.
looking for validation?
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Or, I'm trying to prove that, prove somebody that I can get somebody. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Um,
so those kind of things.
and another thing you know, to discuss is like having standards versus having walls. This is a big one. Like standards say, I know what I deserve. Walls say, nobody's getting close enough to hurt me. And I think there's another one in here, and this comes from people who have been like gone to therapy. They feel like boundaries are just ways to control other people. Which is like, oh well, my boundary is that I don't I just have to go skiing by myself. That's just a boundary, and it's like that's not really what that's for. So that's funny.
I don't celebrate birthdays, so I don't buy gifts.
Yeah, I don't do that.
I'm
Yes,
standing by
yeah.
it. Yeah, something like that. Oh, another thing I wanted to say was, dating from wholeness means you're not looking for someone to complete you. You're looking for someone who complements you. So just remember that.
Mhm.
You don't need, like, oh, I really need you for this. No, you don't.
Mhm.
Everything that you get from a relationship should be added value into
Mhm.
what you already have built for yourself,
Yes.
right? So yeah,
Mhm.
so just being happy alone doesn't mean becoming emotionally unavailable, though, right?
That's the tough part. Yeah.
Right? It means
Mhm.
you're selective, reserved, not shut down. Because you
Yes.
reserved, meaning you reserve the right to um, to do what you want to do. That's
Yes. Yes.
right. I reserve the right. Like, so if I want to do whatever I want, if I want to do this now, I can do it
Mhm.
now. If I don't want to do it another time, I don't have to.
Mhm. Yes.
So I think that's good. Um,
Yes.
and then that's really good. This one's good. Your life doesn't have to be on hold, right?
It shouldn't
When you're
be.
single,
No.
stop saying, when I meet someone, then I'll
Mhm.
travel, right?
Yeah.
Or I'll buy the house, or start the business, or I'll take the class. No, you don't have to wait.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. The yeah, like go to dinner. I mean, girls, we love dinner. We love dinner. It's one of my favorite pastimes is going to dinner with girls and yapping for hours. Celebrate yourself, build friendships, create memories. Don't postpone your life while waiting for someone to join it. Because I mean, in it's especially, and this is especially true as you get older. I think when maybe like when you're dating and you're younger, you might that like it might be a little different maybe, but I'm like in a lot of scenarios, you get to 30 years old, like you getting a relationship means your life is is gonna be shut down a little bit. So have fun while you can. Like go to Miami, go to South Beach, go to
Go to
Turks and
Africa.
Caicos. Yeah, go to Africa, have some fun. Yeah, like because you'll have plenty of time of your life to be on the couch with somebody.
No, it's true. And I like the fact, I feel like the fact that you said don't postpone your life waiting for someone to join it. And I think that for me, that really resonates with me because I like doing things. I
Hmm.
love doing things. And a lot of the things that I do are things that you normally would do with someone. But I have just learned that if there's something that I want to do, I'm just gonna do it. And I have always had a habit of buying two tickets for everything. Like
Hmm.
literally buy two tickets for everything. And I started thinking about this recently and I said, why? Why am
Yeah,
I buying two? If I'm comfortable with going by myself, why am I buying two tickets every time? So
yeah,
psychologically,
yeah.
I was basically showing that I really wasn't comfortable with going by myself.
That's true. That's true. I never thought about that.
Right? So I
Hmm.
finally realized that I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna buy my ticket,
Yep.
and if somebody else shows up, great. If they don't, I'm just gonna accept the fact that I'm going on this thing solo.
Hmm. Yeah, that's something I'm trying to work on. I mean, it is difficult to because so many things are set up to be group or like yeah, events where it's like you and another person. Like,
Yeah.
like luckily at like restaurants, like you can go to the bar, but there
Mm-hmm.
aren't seats in the dining room where it's one chair.
Yeah.
Like, so it's kind of like you kind of feel like you're breaking the system when you're doing things alone.
No, for
So
sure.
it's something you just have to like work at, get more comfortable doing it, find places where it's easy to do that. Like, you go to a cafe, like no one looks at anyone anyway when you're at a cafe alone. You get your coffee, you get your drink, or you get your little muffin. You sit there completely normal. The movies, the bigger things are like solo traveling. I feel like it takes a lot of guts to solo travel as a woman. I know there's a
Mm-hmm.
lot of men who solo travel, and I mean, it is definitely like courageous generally to do so. But like being a woman in solo traveling requires a lot of like thought and logistics and like consideration and keeping your eyes open all the
Yeah,
time.
because we have to be, we have to try to be safe. And so men
Yes,
don't have to worry about some of the things that we have to worry about when we're going out there by ourselves. They
yes,
just don't feel the same threats that we feel. I
no,
mean, there are the threats out there for them too, yes, but they still
100%.
don't feel the same threats that we feel
No.
in operating solo. So yeah, we have so many things that we have to consider. But I feel like social media
Mm-hmm.
and all the meetup groups and all those things actually make it a little bit easier now to be able to do things by yourself
Yes.
than it would have been, let's say, 30 years ago, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can just go online if you want to do something like if I want to go to Africa, I can go online and look for people who want to travel to Africa.
That's
Whereas
true.
we couldn't do that 30 years ago. So I
No.
feel like, that's one of the benefits of social media. It has um, closed in the walls, right?
Mm-hmm.
The world is much
Yeah.
smaller than it's ever been now. And
Mm-hmm.
so we're able to do things that we haven't been able to do before. So that's a good thing. Social
Yes.
media is just being
And
you
if
I mean,
you
hmm?
whenever we've been on trips, even though like we weren't necessarily alone, we've typically encountered someone who was kind of alone, who
Yeah.
would be open to hanging out, and we can bring them in. So I mean, it is a thing where you're like, oh, I don't want to go alone, but I guess the task is to try to, have your own little trip plan and then meet up. You can always like meet up with new people or speak to somebody when you
Mhm.
get there. So even
Yeah.
if you're missing that piece, you probably can find it if you make a little bit of an effort to do so.
Yeah, I think so. So yeah, but yeah, it does require some effort. But I think
Mm-hmm.
that, once again, the one thing that I do like when I've traveled by myself is I can get up when I want. I can
But
go and eat whatever I want, right? I can go when I go shopping, I can go shopping by myself. I can take my time. I don't have to
mm-hmm.
consider anyone else. I just love that part of it. So, no matter what, I still would like to have those times where I can just do whatever I want to do. I just want to do me. I don't want,
Mm-hmm.
I want to go and, just do whatever I want to do. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then as a woman in my season of life, I've
Mm-hmm.
learned that being alone doesn't mean that I'm incomplete either. And I think that we have to remember that because a lot of times people are making you feel like, you're missing something, right? I
Mm-hmm.
know myself better now, and I know that I what I will and won't accept. I know what's going to be good for me. I don't have to worry about, oh, I'm not sure if I'm going to like that. I can make my own decisions, and I love that part.
Yes. Yes, exactly. And as like a younger person, I've learned that figuring out who you are before entering a relationship saves you from expecting someone else to define you. And I think that's a big piece, especially with young women. You have to define yourself. Um, I forgot. There's a quote somewhere tickling in my brain where it was like if and it was one of the girls from Top Model season one. She was talking about like literally this exact thing. Like if you don't tell people who you are, they're gonna make it up for you or something. Like
Yeah.
that exact thing. It's so true. It's just like it's like a white piece of paper. Like you go to the museum, there's a plain white canvas. You can say whatever you want about it. You're like, oh,
No,
what does this mean?
that's
Whereas if
true.
it's this really detailed, like robust piece with all these colors and themes and whatnot, like it forces you to be like, oh, I that's what that is. That is a cat. That is anger. That is this. So I mean, that's really what it is. Like you want to present people with a plain piece of paper or like this book. Like you know what I mean?
No, it's true. I think that if you don't, there's another saying that if you don't live your life, if you don't have a plan on how you want to live your life, you're probably living somebody else's,
Yes,
right?
one
And
hundred
so
percent.
I think that it's important for you to know, who you are, what you would like,
Mm-hmm.
what you would like to do, so that you're not being led into things that are not going to be beneficial to you or things that you're not even going to enjoy. Because a
Yes,
lot of times when you don't have anything planned in your mind or whatever, you find yourself doing things that are not necessarily, the things that you want to do,
yes.
right? Like,
Uh,
oh, okay, well, I'm not doing anything, so okay, I guess I'll go do that. And you're not even enjoying it.
you don't even want to do it. You don't even want to
Yeah,
do it.
so,
And like you said, it's one of those things where it's like you either choose the life you're gonna live or you're just gonna live a life. Like you're still gonna it's still there. You're sitting around like it doesn't change anything.
right.
Yeah.
But I think that being single allows you to discover that.
Mhm.
It's about rediscovering who you are and exploring, rediscovering
Mhm.
and exploring things because you just don't know what decision you would make when it's just you.
Yeah.
You don't know. You don't know. And then like a lot of people who have like hasn't been single like because there are people who have had people they've gone from their parents' house, they've gotten married, they've gotten divorced, and they've gone into relationships. They've never been not in a relationship.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and those folks are will find it very different when they only have to be concerned about themselves. So a lot of times that people won't do anything,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. I think a lot of people won't do anything when they're presented with like, okay, it's just you. What do you do? Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of
Yeah.
people, but then there's also the alternative where people are like, oh, actually, this is great. Like this freedom is like incredible. Actually, I'm never going back. I know several women like that. They divorced and now they're like, I'm never doing that again.
I was talking to my one of my 80-year-old godmothers, and we were just talking at dinner. and her granddaughter said, "Grandma, if Grandpa passed away, she would you remarry?" She said, "Heck no." Now, mind you, they've been married for 50 years. They have been married for 50 years. She loves that man. He loves her. She said, "No." And her granddaughter was like, "Well, why?" She said, it would be the first time in my life that I don't have to be concerned about anybody but myself. That's what she
Mhm.
said. Now, mind you, she's 80 years old. She hasn't had a time in her life where she hasn't, because a lot of times people get married,
Yeah.
have children. Even if you divorce, you still have to be concerned about your children.
Yes.
Even, and I don't care how old your kids are, you're still going to be concerned about them. I mean, she was still taking care of her 60-year-old sons. So, you got, if you have an opportunity to just be concerned about yourself for a little bit,
Take it.
I think you need to take it.
100%. a hundred
Take
percent.
it. Take it, take it, take it, take it. Um,
Mhm.
just being better together starts with being okay within yourself, right? And
Mhm.
so here's some questions. Have you ever confused being single with being lonely? Right? Those are some
Mhm.
questions. I mean, what is the best thing about being single?
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
Those, and let me see what else we
The
got.
yeah, I mean the biggest thing is, I mean, that we all need to work on is just boredom. Like finding ways to fight that, whatever that boredom, I don't have anything to do feeling is. Like, you have to find ways to fill whatever that feeling is with something else, because there's always something that you can do. There is literally always something that can be done. And I think it just seems, I will say, it's like the relationship, getting in a relationship, a lot of times it seems like the easy pass for everything. It's like you don't have to nurture your friendships as aggressively. You don't have to like connect with people to like figure out who you're going to travel with, or try to look to find a plus one. And I think that's really one of the biggest like drivers of people wanting to be in relationships, is just the easiness, and just like kind of the how lazy you can be. You can be like,
Right.
I haven't done any planning or thought about it or connected with anyone, but it's like, you want to go to dinner night? Like, you can just kind of like look over and do it.
Right.
So I think that's one of the big things. But if you're a person who can like build robust friendships, nurture them, then you can really like, make sure that boredom thing doesn't happen. Because I'm like, I know so many single people who are never bored. They are never
No,
bored, to the point that they don't even have time to date. They don't even have time. They don't even have time for that, because they're
that's
so
true. No,
busy, so full of like things to do.
yeah, no, I like that. But I think here's a key factor in trying to make sure that you don't get caught up in just being bored or caught up being just kind of stuck, is making sure that you are thinking about what you're going to do. I feel
Mm-hmm.
like when you don't think about what you're going to be doing, you might find yourself doing nothing
Mm-hmm.
all the time. So journaling, writing down what you want to do. If you're a person that you feel like you're not getting things done, I would say write down a time that you want to do it. Right, write down
Mm-hmm.
a time that you want to do it and do it.
Yes.
Once again, treating yourself like you treat other people. If you tell somebody you're going to do something, you probably will do it. How about when you tell yourself you're going to do things, do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so then I think about, just reminding you that being single isn't a punishment. It's and being in a relationship isn't a prize,
Yes.
right?
That's a
Okay.
big. I mean, people treat being in a relationship as if it's a prize, especially for women. Like, you will never get more praise than when you get engaged. Like, that is like, they act like
What?
you won the
Everybody's
Super
happy.
Bowl.
Oh, yay!
Yeah,
Congratulations!
yeah,
Congratulations!
like, you solved world hunger. Like, you're the like every single positive thing. One second.
Exactly. No, it's true. That's absolutely true. When you get engaged, when you're in a relationship, people think that that is such a win, right? And it is a win. But not getting in a relationship, you're still winning. I
Yes.
certainly am winning. I'm winning right now. Like, I feel like everything's good for me. I feel like I'm not missing anything, and I'm just in a happy state of mind right now, being
Mm-hmm.
single, and I'm grateful for it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes.
I spent a lot of time being married, spent a lot of time raising my children, and I'm really grateful for the singleness right now. So I'm just great. I'm thankful for
And
that.
reach out to your friends. Like even if you're in a relationship, like no, don't isolate. Reach out to your friends that are still out and about. Reach out to your single friends, single people. Reach out to other single people. Get together, communicate, hang out. Because I think that's really a big piece.
And find your thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a thing. What is yours? What is your thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a couple questions that I just wanted to ask. Just some questions, some food for thought, right? Think about this. Do women receive more pressure to be in a relationship than men? That's a question. That's a good question, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
and how do you know when you're ready for a relationship? Those are questions that we have to ask ourselves. And then, what's the difference between wanting someone and needing someone? Have your past relationships taught you about what you want or what you don't want?
Mm-hmm.
What does peace over partnership mean to you, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I just think I just described that. And would you rather be single, or would you rather just be in a relationship with someone? I
Mm-hmm.
don't know. I think those
Mm-hmm.
are some of the questions that we have to ask ourselves, and we
Mm-hmm.
have to make sure that we're intentional as
Yes.
opposed to just defaulting,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep. I
I think
think
that's
that's well
important.
said.
Yeah, because life is good, and I think life is
Yes.
what you make of it. I really
Mm-hmm.
do. I think that if you are happy with yourself, then
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be happier in every other aspect of your life, and it's
It's
not
true.
contingent on anybody else.
Yeah, exactly. And then you have a good, be ready for a relationship if it pops by. You know what
Yeah, it's all about, yeah. I think that's what life is all about. I think life is about us preparing and getting ready for what God has in store for us,
I mean?
and that
Mm-hmm.
could be a partner, or it could be traveling the world.
Yes.
It just depends on what God has for you. But what we do know is what God has for us is for us, and
Yes.
I'm grateful for that.
Mm-hmm. A hundred.
All
A hundred
right.
percent. Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's what we have. One last comment, Sierra.
Mm-hmm. So,
Yeah.
yeah, the goal is to become so comfortable with yourself that you don't choose someone because you're afraid to be alone or need validation. You choose them because you genuinely make your already meaningful life better.
That's right. Adding value. A
And
person,
adding value. Yes, exactly.
yes, they will add value and will not subtract anything. Nothing,
Mm-hmm.
right? You will lack no good thing because they are in your life. So, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what being better together is all about,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
So, we will see you guys next week, same place, same time. We are better together.